I want to start by actually going down the panel and getting a 45-second overview of each of your practices. Aadil, Zaman, let's start with you.
Sure. So my partner and I, we started our firm, Wall Street Alliance Group, about 9 years ago. We are based out of New York City. We are both first-generation immigrants. I'm originally from Pakistan. And many of our clients are also affluent first-generation immigrants. These are people who are professionally very successful, but the challenge that they face is that because they did not grow up in the United States, they are not familiar with many of the financial planning concepts that are considered to be the norm over here. So being first-generation immigrants ourselves, we are able to relate to these clients and cater to their needs in a way that an American-born advisor may not be able to. And we do holistic financial planning, and we have alliances with CPAs and attorneys, so we can provide a one-stop shop to our clients.
Excellent, thank you, thank you. Wes Shields, your practice overview.
So based out of Utah, Midvale, Utah, small practice. In my office, there's actually 2 other practices as well, but as part of my team, there's just 4 of us. Myself and I have a paraplanner who recently started with me back in November, and his role right now is a paraplanner, but we also have him registered to act as an advisor, with the goal being that he is kind of the key to opening up the door to greater capacity. Our niche, if there is one, is fairly broad. It's on the retirement income space, and we kind of fell into that. But yeah, we've been there for a little over 10 years in terms of being with Securities America.
Thank you, Wes. Cami Sorensen, your practice overview.
Yeah, I joined my dad in business right when I graduated from college, and I learned the business from the inside out. I acted in an operations role for like the first 9 years that I was there. And he started to encourage me to sit in with clients and on client meetings, and I started to see the impact that the actual advisor relationship makes, and decided to go into personal production about 3 years ago. And we're in Madison, Wisconsin, and my ideal client for the holistic comprehensive planning that we do is high-achieving women who are delegators.
So you've all built practices as next-gen advisors. You may have had a different path to do that than previous generations did. So let's talk about that a bit. What were some of the essential moves that you made to build your practice? So Aadil, let's start with you.
Sure. So when my partner and I, we started off in the business, we started off as stockbrokers. And what we realized within a few years was that because of the relationship of trust that we developed with our clients wanted us to take care of their entire financial life, not just investment management. So for example, they wanted us to take care of their tax planning, their retirement planning, their estate planning. And at that point, we decided that the best way to cater to these needs is by becoming a fiduciary, fee-based financial advisor. And that's when we started our firm, which was 9 years ago. That move was very pivotal to us because right now, almost our entire business is fee-based. When we started our firm, we realized that in order to provide holistic solutions to our clients, we needed to have a team of experts. And this was very difficult in the beginning, and it took us a number of years. But today, we are very proud that we have alliances with attorneys, CPAs, and actuaries, so we can really provide comprehensive solutions to our clients. And over the years, we've also been able to leverage some of the resources that Securities America has provided us. For example, Premier Trust is a big one. And this has really helped us serve our clients in the capacity of a team of experts.
Good to know, great. Wes, how about you? What were some of your essential moves?
Yeah, so I do not consider myself a marketer by any means. The building blocks of my practice really came from acquiring other practices. I've acquired a book of business from 4 other advisors, and then the rest of it's been from referrals. But you mentioned what has been a key component of that, and I really think, and I would somewhat echo Aadil here, in that demonstrating an ability to really take care of clients, to provide that comprehensive planning. Even other advisors whose practices I've acquired, well, deal structure, that's important. The biggest issue to all of them is finding somebody that's going to take care of their clients and friends the way that they did. And so that made us a key candidate to be able to step in and make that acquisition. But also that's what's driven our referrals. You know, clients refer us because they're comfortable with this. And you know, I heard somebody say one time, you get referrals from your new clients, not necessarily the legacy clients. And I would somewhat agree with that, because we will come in, you know, we've acquired a practice, we're new to these people, and we're just trying to win them over. It's make it exciting again, and it's from them that we're getting referrals.
And you yourself have brought on a paraplanner that you're hoping to grow into an advisor.
Yeah. So I you know, quickly hit the realization I can't do all of it all the time, and brought somebody in to help me with that, because we really want to continue to maintain that level of detail, the planning we always have. And this was kind of a way that I came in. I came in and was mentored by some other advisors, and I'm trying to do the same with, his name's Scott, with my new advisor.
Cammie, what were some of your essential moves?
Similar to Wes, I also was approached by an advisor who was getting ready to retire, and he asked me to take over his business, and that really, it is nice to have clients right out of the gate. And then you get referrals and you work with their kids and neighbors and things like that. So that really has been critical for me. And then also just having the opportunity to sit alongside my dad, who's been in this industry for 45 years, and really learning from one of the best in the industry has been a huge blessing and also a huge benefit.
So along that kind of thought, I know many advisors in this room right now have thought about bringing on a next-gen advisor to their practice. So what advice would you give them in terms of bringing someone in and helping them launch successfully? You mentioned, you know, you were mentored, Wes, and you're mentoring your new paraplanner. So talk a little bit about how that worked. What was that like?
Yeah. So you know, as we interviewed and hired a new advisor, my whole team was involved in this, and you know, the first key was finding somebody that we felt like our clients was just going to like. You know, that was key, and you know, who was intelligent enough to learn the way we do things. But the biggest thing that I think will help him, Scott, and I know helped me, was being able to sit down in client meetings and see how things are ran. You know, I mentioned I had the ability to be mentored by several advisors, and the biggest thing that helped me was sitting in that appointment and watching even just their transitions from one topic to the next. It was the handling of the soft issues, you know, the approach. And every advisor does it different. I think we all know that. And sometimes you just pick up that one little nugget that just makes a difference and helps somebody to end that appointment feeling like, hey, I've been understood, I've been with a friend, I wasn't just with my accountant giving them data and getting a report.
Interesting, that one little nugget. Cammie, how about your experience at learning with your father and other experienced advisors?
Yeah, I think that I look at it as kind of a twofold topic. For one thing, our industry is an aging industry, and so the way to have people continue to get the advice that they need to get is for advisors who've been doing this for a long time to come alongside of people who really do have a genuine desire to learn the industry and to help people do the things that they want to do in their lives as their advisor. And so I think from a purely quantitative standpoint, that is our option. We need to be coming alongside of people and encouraging them and giving them the confidence and the tools that they need to succeed and to provide value to clients. The other thing I would say is, and this is more on the qualitative side, is it's worth it. Why wouldn't you want to take the experience that you have had and pass it down so that someone else can become better because of your experience? So qualitative and quantitative, for one thing, it's just important, and for the other thing, it's worth it.
Aadil, you started in this business in an interesting way and have grown a great practice. So what wisdom would you take from that to share with our audience about developing a next-gen advisor?
Sure. I think one of the best ways of learning is through life experience. Things that you don't necessarily learn in a textbook, but things that you learn from sharing each other's perspectives. For example, for me, a few years ago, when I came to Securities America National Conference, I attended a session like this, a rep panel session that was held by Premier Trust. And one of the advisors taught me a few things about estate planning, which I took back and I applied to my practice, and it helped me elevate my practice to the next level. So what I would share with my fellow advisors is that it is very important for us to share our experiences with next-gen advisors because they can learn a lot from it. But not only that, we can learn a lot from next-gen advisors because they have a different way of thinking. And their perspectives can be very valuable to us. And over the years, as our clients pass away and their children take over, many of our clients are going to be in that next-gen age group. So understanding that mindset can be extremely helpful.
Excellent, excellent. And makes me transition to this next topic of just talking about the next-gen client and the best ways to attract them. And Wes, you have an interesting retainer fee system or a schedule that you work with next-gen clients.
Yeah, so I've noticed a lot of our existing clients are referring us to their children. And I've mentioned it before, it's difficult to be everything to everybody. So we can't bring on everyone, yet these are people that are important to our important clients. So I wanted to make sure that we were there for them and that we weren't putting off the perception that somebody was too small for us. So what I instituted was a retainer fee. And when we have that next-gen client referred to us, we sit down with them. We answer their questions. We probably spend about an hour with them, somewhat of a discovery meeting, somewhat just answering what was important to them and why they were here. And then I'll show them a retainer fee, which our retainer fee starts with a stated fee of, it's $1,200 up front for a year, and then each year we renew, and that can be paid quarterly or annually. And I just show that to them and say, here is what it would cost if you wanted to continue to work with us. However, for you, your situation is different because of your relationship with your father or mother, whoever it might be, your fee will be a little bit different. I'm going to send you a letter of engagement that will outline that. And it gives me time to put together an email or a document and send it to them and just say, hey, we would love to work with you. Here's the things that you said are important. Here's where we can add value. And here's your fee. And it's always less than that $1,200. But it's still just high enough, in our opinion. And it gives them the opportunity to opt out or opt in. I get about a 50% acceptance rate on that, and I think that that's about right because I'm just trying to set myself up to have that relationship in the future. And if they opt out, that's okay. I've still, even with some of these people, sent them a follow-up email and said, hey, just following up on this issue, or invited them to the client event, because someday I want them as a client. I may not just want them as a client right now. So.
Great example. And for the sake of time, I do want to switch topics here real quickly and actually hand the moderator mic over to Janine, but start with this question for you, Janine. Can you give us a little background on the history and breadth of some of the women's programs at Securities America in Ladenburg?
So back in 2008, we assembled a group of top women advisors at our national conference in Boston. We invited, the editor then was Marian Asnes of Financial Planning Magazine, and she wanted to kind of dig into the psyche of what makes top women advisors tick and how they got into the industry. And really, our objective was to figure out ways that we could retain and also attract more women to our industry. And so what we heard from them was, we need more opportunities to network with other women, see what's working for them. And then we also just need more programs, geared towards women. We don't need golf balls for the tchotchkes that are given away, just teasing. But anyway, so we talked about a lot of those things. And so therefore, Super Women's Summit was born. And we've been holding that at the national conference every year since then. It's been a highlight event. And last year, we had 125 women that attended the luncheon. So Securities America, many of you have seen in the news that we are one of the highest ranking independent broker-dealers with the highest percentage of women advisors. So we think that's a lot to do with the intentionality that we put around making our broker-dealer an inviting community to women advisors. In fact, if many of you haven't seen our advisor-specific website, womenadvisorsconnect.com, I encourage you to go look at that. It shares a lot of top women advisor stories. And as you know, we were acquired by Ladenburg Thalmann in 2011, and Dick Lampin was really excited about the things that we were doing with women advisors, and he wanted to help us to continue to build on that momentum. So together with Ladenburg and also the affiliate IABs, as well as some of the affiliated subsidiary companies of Ladenburg, we formed Ladenburg Institute of Women in Finance. And that was formed in 2012. Then also Jamie Desmond, who is the rockstar COO for LTAM, chairs that committee. And we host quarterly webinars, as well as we host an annual symposium every year where we bring the women across the IABs in for a 2-day event. We also started the LIFT mentoring program where we're pairing up-and-coming women advisors with senior advisors. And so far we've had 23 pairs at the Securities America level, and one of those pairs has been Cami Sorensen, who's an amazing advisor. And I know that you participated in the LIFT mentorship program as a mentee. So I'd like for you to share with the group the value that you derive from that.
Oh, sure. There really is something to be said for in an industry that is so male heavy, which is a wonderful thing in many ways. But being a woman is actually very different in this industry, and we'll probably go into that a little bit. And having a successful female advisor come alongside me and say, okay, here is what I did. Opening up the doors, this is how I succeeded, this is what we're doing right now. This is exactly how we do it, this is how much I charge, this is how I run a meeting, this is how I plan my events, things like that. It's invaluable, invaluable.
Good, and your mentor was?
Charlotte Jessup.
Yep. In the audience,
here,
I believe,
yes.
yeah. Thank you, Charlotte. The other thing, what advice would you give advisors that are considering hiring or recruiting a woman advisor into their practice?
I would say that it is important that you recognize that the industry is actually different for women. One thing that a lot of people find astonishing when I tell them is that when I call an investment company to check on one of my clients' accounts, you know, something's going on with it, approximately 70% of the time, the person who answers the phone says, okay, and now what advisor are you working for? And I would venture to guess that no male advisor in this room has ever had that happen. So it's different, yeah. So it needs to be recognized and recognized.
You know, I think the other thing is just confidence building. I think is important for a woman in this business. Again, if you're surrounded by a sea of men, you know, you certainly want to make sure that you feel as confident as the men in the room. And so I think that helps when you're working with another female advisor that's been in the business for a long time, has experienced that, worked with a lot of men, and knows kind of the things that you need to do to build that confidence.
Oh, for sure.
So how have Securities America and Ladenburg's women initiatives help you grow and perfect your practice?
I agree with you on the confidence, and I think that that's it. Having the opportunity to be around and become friends with and network with women who are doing it successfully, and I don't just mean in their business. These are women who are moms, who are very, very committed to their families, who are very committed to keeping together the household. And they're also wonderful professionals who are doing great things for their clients. Seeing that and actually getting to see it in action and learning about the people and being friends with them, I think that is what has the greatest value.
So some of the programs that you've used at Securities America and Ladenburg, how have those kind of helped you grow your practice, would you say?
I think that there is a general attitude of wanting to share what works. And so, like with the LIFT mentoring program and the women's conference every year, things like that, there really is an attitude of we're better together. And if I can help you make your practice better, then I want to do that, and I'm going to share with you that we're not competitors, we're in this together.
Good. And what do you think it's going to take to encourage more young females to choose financial advice as a career?
I think evangelism about how wonderful of a career it is for women and how it is really accessible and how women have a super unique advantage in this industry because there are so few of us and because it's mostly women who end up living out the financial planning outcomes that were done. And so women have a vested interest in making sure that they're good decisions, and women advisors can come alongside of those women and make it feel accessible and make their concerns feel heard. So I really think evangelism is the thing. People need to know that. Women need to know that. We need to have women in the universities talking about how wonderful of an industry this is for women. And then I think the conference, the program.
Link to the Future.
Link to the Future is also really amazing, because what a great opportunity. One of the difficult things about being in college is that you are choosing a career that you haven't necessarily gotten to do. And so having the opportunity for college kids to come and really get to see what the industry is like and learn about what the people are like is, I think it's really neat.
So I'll give a plug. How many of you are familiar with Link to the Future, our Link to the Future program? Show of hands. Yeah, more people need to know about that. So we have 40 conference scholarships that we're awarding to college students, juniors and seniors, at our national conference in June. And that's up from 30 that we did last year in New Orleans. It was a super successful program, so 40 people. Remember, we'll be partnering with KMS on that national conference. And so they actually are based in Seattle. So to be college students, but it's the sons and daughters of our advisors, or granddaughters and grandsons of our advisors. So I encourage you, if you have a son or a daughter that qualifies, definitely put them into the application process in terms of if they have the criteria. I think one of the best universes is the sons and daughters of our advisors. And also, specifically when it comes to female advisors, they get to see an up-close and personal view of what it means to be a financial advisor. A lot of times, I think what we're hearing from these college students is really what they think is that you sit behind a desk and you just pick stocks all day long. That's really what they think that you do. And so we really need to tell them and educate them on what it means to be a financial advisor. You know, they say that women refer 7 times more than men. So if we start talking to the female daughters and we get them interested in financial advice and they start sharing with their friends, we can create that evangelism to bring more women into the business. You know, 51% of the population are female right now. We live longer. There's more women that are graduating college these days. A lot of financial decisions are going to rest in the hands of a lot of women. So my advice to you would be to mentor one, hire one, team with one, and do all you can to encourage more women advisors to join financial advice. Have you ever been in the room with your spouse, you meet a new couple, and you come out of that room, and I found out 10 more things than my husband did? We are just good at the gift of gab and the gift of asking questions, so we make really good financial advisors. That's all, Kurt.
Thank you, Janine. Thank you, panel. Thank you very much.